Happy Mother's Day! Yes, I am so excited to be able to hang out with all the mamas and babies today. Um, I'd like to say that my baby's with me, but she is upstairs hanging out with her dad. She's very chatty, so I just leave her upstairs for now. Maybe in a couple of years when she's a little older, we can all hang out together. I actually really look forward to that. Just a huge shout out to hashtag momming. It is the most rewarding, hardest, best, most incredible experience you could ever have. And I just really want to honor all the awesome moms out there. Legit, you are completely killing it. We were dealt a really hard hand this last year and a half. And I just want to know that I see you, I'm with you, and I hope that an experience like today where we get to actually share our time together and do something productive that we can actually have a shared experience. It's really important. Art is such a great way to let loose and be able to connect with our family and also friends, but especially our family and our kids. So I hope you guys are up for a really fun, sweet challenge. I know the elephant might look a little on the hard side, but I promise you we're just going to take this step by step. So to all the moms out there, if you want to draw this on for your kids, I fully understand. But kids, big and small, just know that you got this. And it doesn't really matter if it doesn't look exactly like mine. I'm pretty sure mine's not even going to look exactly like mine today. So I'm just going to just throw that out there. We're just going to do the best that we can. And it's all good. So let's see who's here. Kelly, is there any way we can make a video for later? My service is bad. This is going to be recorded and it's going to be left up forever. And you know why? Because today's party is actually sponsored by the amazing association Fantastic Fathers. It's a local community group here in Windsor, Essex, and I have a little spiel that I want to say for them because, I see I already have some spammers. Okay, so if you guys see any links popping up to lure you to buy this party today, please report them. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to keep up. I try and put all the blocks that I can for these guys to not pop up on me, but it's pretty much inevitable these days. Anyways, I just want to give a shout out to our sponsor today. They're a fully registered nonprofit organization who aim to provide specifically tailored family events designed to strengthen and bond strengthen the bond between parents and children and create lifelong memories. And I honestly can't think of a better way to do that than hanging out and painting with your kids. Educational opportunities for parents intended to increase knowledge and confidence in their parental abilities. I know I could have used that a few times in the last few years. Oh man, when you have a strong-willed kid, holy moly. And promotion of fully involved parenting with the emphasis on father participation, highlighting the benefits to families and to the betterment of the community. So parents who take active roles in the healthy growth and development of their children provide them with the best possible chance for success in adulthood and thus having a positive impact within the communities in which they reside. Our program lineup looks to combat the incredibly high rate of children who succumb to social pitfalls when growing up lacking a father or male parental figure involvement. The percentages of high school dropouts, teenage pregnancy, drug and alcohol addiction, poverty, homelessness, and crime incarceration have all been proven in modern studies to be significantly reduced when children have access to loving fathers. I'm so lucky to have amazing men in my life, and I truly wish that for everybody. With your support, we will be able to expand our number of programs and frequency to be able to reach as many families as possible. Parents who are seeking knowledge will have the opportunity to take part in a diverse number of subjects we intend to cover. Children will also enjoy a wide range of fun and educational activities that we have planned for them and their parents to perform together, like painting. And I'm so honored to be chosen by the Fantastic Fathers to host an event like this for them. I just feel so honored to represent such an amazing company. So if you guys have any more questions about the Fantastic Fathers Association, you can look up fantasticfathers.ca and you get all the info you need there. So shout out. Anyways, who's here? Yay! Um, and yes, it is Fantastic Fathers, but they do support moms as well. It's all about parents and kids and getting us together so that we can bond over sweet activities like art and I'm sure sports and all the good stuff. So I hope you guys are ready to get a little creative today. I just love this painting so much. Like, how cute is that? And it's so funny. My daughter's story today, she came downstairs and she's like, "Oh, mom, like, why, why is the mom closing her eyes?" And I'm like, "Cause it feels so good to snuggle your baby. You know, it's so nice to." I just think about the mama holding her elephant, and it's just that is just the best feeling. I totally ache for that feeling, and as my kid gets bigger and bigger, I just know that the days are numbered in that little snuggle time that we have. So make sure you guys are snuggling your babies. And just remember, guys, it's really cool that we actually get to be here together. Here in Ontario, we still aren't allowed to hang out with our families. So it's a really cool way that we can connect via internet and have a shared experience, even if we can't be together. So I really hope that this offers the opportunity for you guys to find a way to be together, even if you are unable to physically touch each other. And that's it. Oh man, I don't like it when people spam my page. It really bothers me. And with that said, we are going to hang out for 3 more minutes. So let's see. My son, I call my son Dumbo because he has sticky out ears and I love his snuggles. Oh, Danielle, I totally feel you on that one. I love sticky out ears. I think they're just the cutest things in the whole world. Let's see who else is here. Oh my goodness, look at all you guys. Deb, hi, how's it going? Alyssa, I hope I'm saying that right. Carol from Moncton, New Brunswick, Kelly, and Julianne and Tanya. Lots of love to the moms out there today. Dorothy and Gail. Sorry, I'm having a hard time saying these things right now. Lisa, Maria, and Aaron. Oh, I hope you guys are all with your kids. And honestly, if you're not, that's awesome. Because let's be honest, it's really nice to have some alone time too. And Alyssa Gagnon Brown is here. Hi, Alyssa. I hope you guys are ready to have some fun with me today. And I truly think that is it. So I'll just really quickly go over some of the stuff we need while we settle in here. Just make sure that you have your cup of water to rinse your brushes in. Please make sure you have a napkin to wipe your brushes on. And please, let's see here. I have a few different brushes that I'm going to be using today. So I have my 3/4 inch Fatty McFatterson flathead brush. I have my 1/2 inch flathead brush. I also have a long liner brush just in case. And we are going to be drawing on our elephant first today. So guys, please grab a pencil. You might need an eraser, but I really hope not. And guys, just give me 1 second. I'm going to be back in just 1 second. I'm going to try and get some, I feel like, we are getting overly spammed right now. Let's see. Okay. Well, there's not much I can do about it. So guys, just ignore all of those people. It's like, will they ever learn to not put their links inside my streams? I'm not sure. Just ignore them and hopefully they'll veer off while we get our party started. I love to connect with the people who are actually here to paint. So just know that I see you. I love you so much. And you know what? It's noon. Let's get this party started. And we are going to start with our pencils, and I'm just going to see how this works out. I think I'm going to have to do a close-up view for you guys so that you can get a really good view. So get your pencils loaded up. I'm going to get myself set up here, and I'm so excited. So guys, just please, please, please remember, before we get started, I just want to say it one more time, okay? We are all unique individuals. We all see things and have different levels of experience. We all hold our pencils, hold our brushes differently. And I just really, really, you have to know that painting is simply to feel good. Painting helps us get through hard emotions. It helps us find clarity. It helps us find peace and love, and that's exactly what we're going for here today. So please know that there's like a 98% chance that your elephant's not going to look exactly like mine, and that's okay. And I promise you, even if it has a little bit of wonkiness to it, those are the absolute cutest paintings. So let's let loose, let go, and truly, truly, truly just find the joy in the action of painting. Let's not get stuck in our heads and think that we're not doing a good job. I'm trying. You're doing an incredible job. Okay? Okay. Spiel done. All right. So, like I said, I have usually used some sort of push pencil. Whatever kind of pencil you want to use is perfectly fine by me. I also have an eraser just in case, but let's be honest, this elephant that I have on my page right here is very cartoony. So whatever shape you make her ears, whatever shape you make the front of her head, she's got quite the frontal lobe on her on this one. So if you want to even yours out a little bit more or make it a little bit more symmetrical or not, it's going to look super awesome. Okay, I am going to do a close-up. So here we go. Get a nice close-up view of my page here. So I'm using a multimedia pad today, which is just a paper that's kind of thick enough to hold paint, but it's great for drawing as well. And the first thing I like to do when I'm drawing anything is just start from a point where I feel really comfortable. And for this elephant in particular, I feel like her ear is a really good starting point, because when we make her ear in this spot right here, then we can gauge how far her head needs to go down. And we're all going to do this. It's all flowy and all these lines work really well together. So let's do this. Grab your pencils and get started. Happy Mother's Day, Beth. I see you amongst all the spammers. Okay, so you can go over a few inches onto your page. It really depends on the size of the page you're using. But basically, if the center is here, we're just going to go up and over a little bit. And her ear's going to start right there, maybe a little bit higher even, maybe about right here. And I'm going to go over and down, but I'm going to go down on an angle, and then I'm going to cruise back over that way. Now, I promise you guys, it does not have to look exactly like that. And I know I'm going to say that I just really want to drive it home that whatever shape your ear turns out, I promise it's going to look like an elephant ear in the end. It's all good. All right. Now, especially for this elephant ear, you know, they can be kind of in all different directions. You could bring her ear down to a point. They could be even wider. However you want to do it is fine by me. And then I'm going to bring it back up. And I'm just going to curve in. So where this part curves over here, I'm going to curve in a little bit more again. So you can see it's kind of parallel to this curve over here. So I'm going to curve back up and in and over. Now, I'm not going to attach her ear, but you can if you want to. Yes, that's a big ear. I have to agree. And happy Mother's Day to you, Maria. Happy Mother's Day, all you awesome people. Mothers are awesome. Moms rule the world. If there were no moms, we'd be in a dire state, that's for sure. Okay, so once that ear is on there, we're gonna do her giant frontal lobe of a head, okay? So I like to start you can start at the edge of her ear or just move over a little bit. And I'm gonna pull up and over and cruise down. Now, I'm not going all the way to the other side of the page. I'm just gonna go far enough so that when I bring her lobe back down, there's enough room for her trunk. And truly, however big her trunk ends up being, it's all good. We're just gonna fit that tiny little elephant in there. All right, so from that point there, I'm gonna pull down and around and back up. And you can see already, if you have a picture of the original, my elephant definitely is a different size than the other one. So I don't really worry about it. It's going to be all good. And her nose has a little bit of like, I bring it up to a point here and over, give it a little wiggle. Like she's got some little nostril action there. And I'm going to try and keep this line parallel with her trunk here. But as I kind of cruise out, it's going to get a little bit wider and come back up to her ear. Okay, so come back down and I'm going to leave it parallel to that line. And as I cruise down, I'm going to get just a little bit wider. Excuse my hand for a second there. A little bit wider. And I'm going to bring it up and attach it to her ear. And now that's a nice little cradle, right? All right. Oh, happy Mother's Day to you too, Amber. That sounds nice. That sounds nice. Okay, so just to finish off our mama elephant, I'm going to give her a back, boing, and I'm going to give her a belly, boing. And then we are going to draw our little elephant. I'm going to get even a little bit closer in so you guys can get a really good view of my baby elephant here. Now, this little baby elephant is really snuggly in there. And actually, most of his body is the bottom of her trunk. So, just like in this little nook, I'm going to start with just a little bit of a curved line. Hold on a sec. There we go. So right here, I'm just going to pull my pencil over and just put a little arc right there. All right. And then right after, so this is going to be the top of the baby elephant's head. And I'm going to give, it can be a he or a she, whatever you want, a little boy, a little girl. I'm going to give her a little elephant ear right on the side here. So she's got a nice big ear there. And then what happens is I'm going to just give her a little bit of face, but then the rest of her trunk is going to get absorbed by her mama's trunk. So we don't even have to make this side of her face. She's so snuggly wuggly inside of her mama's snout or trunk, whatever you want to call it. And that she's so snuggled in we can't even see the other side of her face there. So I brought a line over. I gave her a little ear. Just gave her a little bottom of her face, and then her little trunk just curves up, just like a backwards J, or even just like a long U, and comes back down. Now, the rest of her body is one big half circle. So starting at her head over here, I'm going to pull up and over and connect that side of her body over to the mama's trunk. Aww. And last but not least, she can have a little leg that's snuggled in there as well. Oh my goodness, how cute. So I'm just gonna say this one more time, friends, for the rest of the party. But yes, so this video is being recorded. It's also being shown on my YouTube channel at the same time. So you will be able to watch this forever. This video is sponsored by the Fantastic Fathers. So if you guys want to go and like their Facebook page, just look up Fantastic Fathers or go to their website and drop them a line and say thank you to them as well, because they are offering this awesome class for you today. I know, how cute is it, Maria? So cute. Legit the cutest. Okay, so that's all we're going to do for our drawing. And we are going to start painting our background. So don't mind me for a second. Take one more look at the shape here. I'll do a really quick recap. So we started up here and we made our big elephant ear. Elephant ears, like the ones you get at festivals. Yum. And then we made her huge noggin and brought it down into her trunk and around and back up. Then with our little guy here, we just gave him a little head, brought his ear down and around, and his trunk, and that attaches all to her trunk. And then his body just goes around with his little leg here as well. Okay, so once you guys get that drawn on, take a minute. If you need to fix anything up, it's all good. And just remember, we're painting right over top of this. So we are going to be able to see some of the pencils showing through the background if we're using acrylic paints. But just remember, guys, if you don't have paints, we're drawing this on, you can absolutely use colored pencils or markers or whatever, or you could just do a pencil drawing. Honestly, it's just about getting creative. It's really not about, you don't have to follow exactly how I'm doing it. I really just want you guys to have fun. That's all that matters to me. Getting our families together and having a good time. All right. So I'm going to move my camera back to center so we can see both of the images, and then we can start to pour some of our paint onto our palette and get this paint party started, all right? So friends, if you can give me some thumbs ups to let me know you're good to go. You can say I'm done in the comments, which is actually way more helpful, and let me know how it's going. Are you struggling with the drawing? And please, guys, at any time, if you need me to repeat something or if you would like a little bit of extra direction, just say something in the comments and I can absolutely go over any of it. Super ready. Yes, all set. Perfect. Okay. I love it. Let's continue on the party. All right. So here we go. Now, all right, Chrissy thinks she's did pretty good. Vanessa's done. Lisa's done. Naya. Oh, I missed Naya and Lakin are all set. Sarah's ready to go. So excited. Oh, nice. Steph, I'm so excited. My mom is in Quebec and I'm in Ontario and we are painting together. Isn't that sweet? I love it. Susan's ear looks like a sock. That sounds pretty legit. I'm into it. Okay, guys. So the first thing I'm going to do, we're actually going to use a lot of white in our background today. So I just get some simple paints from the dollar store. I have my white acrylic paint here. And I'm going to put more white than any other color on my palette. And I'm obviously right at the end of my bottle. I've been finishing off this bottle for weeks. So I don't know. Maybe I'll get another use out of it. We'll see. So I have my white there. I have a little bit of turquoise. You guys are so funny, Heather and Sue. And I also have a little bit of cotton candy pink. Now, I also want to remind everybody again, because I often have to keep reminding, this is your painting. And like the great Bob Ross once said, this is your world. So if you're not digging the purple and you want to do blue instead, or if you don't have turquoise, you can replace that with blue. Just really use the colors that your heart truly desires. I'm into that, okay? So I have a turquoise, cotton candy. I'm going to be using this wild eggplant purple. It's kind of like a wine color. I love that. I love those three colors together so much. And I'm just going to wait until later to put my black on my palette until it's actually time to, yes, Nia, it's I always use acrylic. And I have learned how to navigate acrylic paints really well. I like acrylics because they clean up really easily with water. And I also like them because they dry really fast. And I'm what they call an impatient artist. So the thought of having to leave a painting dry for hours and hours or maybe even days or weeks just like does not vibe with me. I want to get it done like right now. And that's why I use acrylic paints. Okay. So like I said, we are gonna color in and around our elephant, but if you get the color inside of your elephant, it's actually perfectly okay. We don't have to worry about it. You can even color right inside of your elephant if you want. I'm probably just going to use my brush and work around the contour of the elephant, but I'm going to swipe inside her body and I'm not even going to worry about it, all right? And I'm going to do my whole background with my 3/4 inch Fatty McFatterson flathead brush. I also need to load up my water cup here. Just a reminder that, see, I use a red Solo cup as a water vessel. There's something very attractive about a red Solo cup when you're painting that you don't realize. So if you use something like that, just don't drink from it. And if you do have a drink with you, keep it separate because you don't want to swish your brush in your drink cup and cry. Nobody wants crying today. It's all good. All right. So let's get this started. Now I'm going to just give my brush a little dip in my water cup to start. And I'm going to start at the bottom with turquoise and white. So I'm actually just going to grab a little turquoise and a little white right on my brush here, right in the center. And I'm going to start to fill in the color all around my elephant. And like I said, I'm not going to worry about not going in the lines or anything. I'm just going to work my way around. And the motion I'm using with my brush is kind of like a crisscross. Or like a rocking motion. So I just rock my brush back and forth. And I'm actually going to throw a little bit over here too. And as I work my way up the canvas, I'm going to start to add a little bit of pink. So I'm not even going to wash my brush. I'm just going to go ahead and grab some pink. And I'm also going to throw some white in there with it. Now, if you have an overly crazy amount of turquoise on your brush, you're probably going to want to give it a rinse. Just give it a little rinse in your cup there. That's funny, Cynthia. We have all drunk the cleanser water. Oops, yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. No good. Now, as I work my way up, I'm going to continue to use pink, but I'm also going to mix in the white with the pink. Like I said, We are using a lot of white in our painting today. Whether you can notice it or not, it's getting mixed in with our colors because I like the look of a nice light colored. I love the look of a light colored turquoise, and I like the look of a light colored pink. So that is what I am using. Just a little bit of white and pink swooshed together. And I don't really worry about it. I like how this texture looks, so I just swoop my brush back and forth a bunch of times. And I don't really worry about my brush strokes for this. So I'm getting some texture in my background. I'm working my way up to the top. And once I start to reach the top, I'm going to start to add in my purple. Now the purple itself, I don't really add any water in with it. Or sorry, white in with it until I start to mix it with the other colors. So I'm going to start with my purple at the top and I'm working my way down into the pink area. And you have to know that blending colors together is truly just all about stamina. So as many times as you can stand to bring your brush back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth forever, then that's just an indicator that your blends are going to be a little bit better. Now, once my purple starts to reach my pink, I'm going to start to add little bits of white. And if at any point you're having a hard time mixing the colors, a little bit of water also goes a long way. So in this background, I really let my brush be free. I like to let the colors just kind of do their thing. I don't overly complicate it. I trust that my colors, look really beautiful together, and that's all that really matters. Yay, happy Mother's Day, Crystal. Thank you. Same to you, friend. Nira, so the colors I'm using, I have white and turquoise and pink and purple. Those are all the colors I'm using. I saved black for last to put on my palette because black can be very sneaky. So if I had like black on my palette right here, and I really get into painting while I'm doing this, right? So sometimes I'm not always paying the best attention to my brush or where it goes during this process. So I've learned the hard way many times that I can easily take a swoop of black on accident and swoop a big gloop of black on my canvas totally on accident, and then I have to start over again because sometimes it's really hard to get rid of those dark colors, and I'm not into it. I like to get it all done in one shot, in one shatarooski. You know what I mean? So now what might happen is we started at the bottom and we worked our way up to the top, and you can see I started to work my way back down. So you might find that there's a little ebb and a flow where you might need to re-put the colors on the canvas. You might lose a little bit of color in certain areas, and truly it just takes a little bit of finessing to bring those colors together. So wherever there might be like a harsh line where there's not a lot of blending going on, it's a really good opportunity to just put a little water on your brush, grab a little bit of white, white and whatever color you want to blend together, and adding that little bit of watery white in this section here truly makes all the difference. So when you add a little bit of water to your acrylic paints, it helps the paint stay on top of the other paint. I hope that makes sense. Cynthia is on is this on Bristol board, watercolor paper, or acrylic paper? So Cynthia, I'm actually on a mixed media pad. It's called Canson, Canson Mixed Media Pad. And I like this pad. Now, it's not perfect. It's not like canvas. My paper does bow a little bit, but after it dries, it tends to keep its shape pretty well. And I use this green painter's tape to put around it. So then at the end, when I rip my tape off, I get these nice edges around and I don't have to worry about, going off the page and all that stuff. So I do have a couple rolls of this painter's mate green tape, or even just masking tape works really well. And I'm really glad that I adopted this method, because when you're making so many paintings, it's really, really hard to keep them all stored properly. So having everything all in one book is pretty awesome. Now, if there is a painting that I'm doing that I want to give away, or if I want to gift or something like that, then I would use a canvas. But it is really nice to have all my paintings in one spot now. I really like that. And it allows me to practice, and practicing is what it's all about, right? So how's everybody doing with their paintings? How's everybody, loving their sky? Or are your colors coming together properly or at all? Let me know how it feels, how you're painting, and when you're painting. Does it feel good? Do you feel frustrated? Is there anything I can help you with? Please throw something in the comments and let me know. Now, once my background is all done here, I'm going to go ahead and it's finally safe for me. It's finally safe for me to put a little bit of black on here. Okay, Ashley. So Ashley's saying, I'm using canvas and noticing a lot of white holes form the canvas. Yes, that's true. So Ashley, the secret sauce to that means that your paint is probably going on a little too dry. And it probably means that you need to add a little bit of water onto your brush or into the paints. So whenever I have canvas holes, is what I call them, I take my brush, I dip it in the water, and I dip it in whatever color I want to use. Now, I always tap, if I put water on my brush, I always tap it on my palette first, because I don't want it to drip, right? But adding that little bit of water and grabbing a little bit of paint with it, all you got to do is give it a little swoop, and it will fill in those holes so much easier. Oh, that's nice. Sarah, I love these colors too. That's so sweet. Mark said, had too much room at the bottom, so I drew the mom sitting on grass. Madison, nice work, Madison. That's awesome. Just cannot seem to blend well. Gail, legit, it's literally just going back and forth with your brush as much as you can. Now, don't be afraid to go back over it. So if the blend isn't working, grab a little bit of white and just keep swooping with your brush. Don't stop moving. Just keep moving back and forth with your brush. And the more you go back and forth, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times, back and forth, the more the colors are going to come together. And sometimes it can hurt. So there's a lot of paintings where I'm blending for so long that I can start to feel it in my bicep, right? And I paint all the time, and it can actually get quite painful, and it makes me feel really weak when that happens. It's just the lay of the land. So if you need to give your arm a little bit of a break, that's cool. But if you can continue to bring your brush back and forth as many times as you can, then you're going to get a little bit of a better blend. Okay, so I'm going for it. I'm going to put a little bit of black, and I'm just starting with a little bit on my plate. Now, the trickiest part to this painting is actually mixing the colors to make gray. And that's the color of our elephants. So, like I said, I have a whole lot of white, a little bit of black, and I'm going to mix those two colors together to make some gray on my plate. So I'm gonna rinse my brush. I still got my 3/4 inch Fatty McFadderson flathead brush here. And whenever I mix colors or whenever I'm making gray, I just like to add a little bit of black at a time, okay? Black is very, very pungent. It's got lots of pigment in it and it loves to take over. So just a little bit at a time is gonna go a long way. Now I have my big gloop of white here. I'm just gonna take a little scoop of black and I'm gonna mix it in. And I just bring my brush back and forth, mix that all in. Make sure you have a decent amount because we are filling up our elephant. If you need to add more white onto your palette, go for it. And I'm making kind of like a medium gray. So I'm gonna give it like a 50% gray. We don't want it to be too dark and we don't want it to be too light. It'll be nice if it's just like a half and half. Let me just add one more little scoop of black in there. Now, because we're mixing the colors, your brush is going to get really, really filled up with paint. So what I like to do, I just kind of give my brush a little squeegee on the side. And also, if it's not mixed perfectly well, that's okay, because it's okay to have some streakies in your elephant. And when we start mixing our brush or start moving our brush, the colors are going to mix together inside of our elephants as well. So I have my gray here. I'm actually going to add a few drops of water to it just to extend it a little bit and make my brush cruise along the canvas a little better. So I added a few drops of water. I have my color mixed and I hope that it's enough. But if it's not, you know what? I'll just mix a little bit more. It's all good. And for me, I just really like to start at the top. Start where we started in the first place. Fair enough. Okay, so Kieran May says, could we use a marker brush for the elephants? Absolutely. Mark's saying I'm using, or Madison was it? I'm using colored pencils. 2 times the work equals 2 times the fun. That's awesome. Okay, guys. So I'm going to start in her ear and I'm just going to start filling her in. So you can already see I'm getting some, I must have some black in my paintbrush left over from mixing. It doesn't let it bother me. I just keep moving my brush and eventually it will mix in with the ear. You know, I'm pretty relaxed when it comes to this kind of stuff. So I'm going to work my way around her ear, and I often just let the contours of my paintbrush strokes remind me where the lines end up stopping and starting, especially for her face and all those things. So I'm just contouring around her ear, get her little lobe down here. And I don't overly concern myself with the outline because we are going to be outlining in black after, okay? So ear's done, and I'm using my big brush so it fills it up really, really fast. Go around the corner, down, fill it up. And whenever I'm coloring it in, or any like animals or objects, I often try and keep that same shape with my brush. So as I'm coloring her face in, I'm bringing my brush around in that same motion, so any brush strokes that might show up in the end are contouring her face. They're going in that right direction. And it's not just like scribbling it in like with a crayon or something like that, you know? So our brush strokes can often be seen afterwards, so I like to make nice long smooth strokes, make sure they're all going in the right direction, and I don't over concern myself with exactly where the lineup is because we are going to be tracing her in nice thick black lines after, so we don't have to worry about it, okay? Anywhere where it might seep outside the lines, it's all good. There's always room for fix-uppins. So I'm just cruising around the edges. I'm not afraid to put a little pressure on my brush for this, so As I'm cruising around, I'll give my brush a push. And that's the thing about brush work as well. So if you push your brush, it gets wider and you cover more of a surface area. If you stay really light and thin, you can just make nice little lines around the edges and then color it in. So whatever your comfort level is with your brush, it might be something really fun to practice while you're doing this. Maybe in like a bigger area, you can see, like, if you push really hard, you can make a nice wide line. And if I push really lightly, I get a nice short, skinny line. So often when I'm contouring around the edges of something, I just use a nice light line. And if I'm filling in big areas, I use a big thick line. One other thing as well, I keep adding a little bit of water to my brush as I go. You can continue to add a little bit of water in with your paints. Not too much because you don't want it to thin out too much, but it does really help my brush glide across the canvas. So any time where I feel like a little drag or lag in my brush where I'm like, oh, it's so hard to move, I can't get it to do what I want it to, I just add a tiny little bit of water into my paint and it just makes my brush feel silky smooth on the canvas. Bold, beautiful, cover girl. All right. And once I have the mama colored in, I'm going to do the exact same thing to my baby elephant. Now, if you feel a little bit more, if a little uncomfortable using your big brush for the baby elephant, don't worry about it. You can absolutely move down a notch and grab your 1/2-inch flat brush or something a little smaller. But we're just going to color it in the same way. And if you, I'm just going to color right over it using the acrylics. Generally, I still see the pencil popping through the background, so I just leave it be. I know where my lines are, and I just keep cruising around the edges. Fill it in. The baby looks like a big ball. Aw, big cute ball. How adorable. So now we have a big gray blob on our canvas. and yeah, we're gonna go from there. So guys, when you are done filling in your mama elephant and your baby elephant with gray, let me know. And we are going to give them some awesome little highlights and lowlights, meaning some shading, little shadows. I really love to get super expressive with my paintbrush strokes. So I hope you guys are going to embrace the expressiveness. Here, let's get this out of the way here. Of the potential of expression in this elephant here. Now, while you guys are finishing up, in the bottom corner of my video here, you can see I have my web address, juliespaintparty.com, and it says /coloring book. So listen to this. I am going to be building a brand new branch of my Julie's Paint Party membership. It is just a birthed thought right now, but I'm planning it out as we speak. I really, really, really want to bring my all my families together. So I'm going to be creating a kids club for the paint parties. We are going to be using, we're going to be learning how to use colored pencils, markers, and paints. And it's going to be awesome. And I'm going to be throwing it out there for a really, really, really reasonable price to start. So if that's something that you think that you and your family would enjoy, please, 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 I'm offering a free coloring book. So go to juliespaintparty.com /coloring book, and you can get like, I don't even know, I think maybe like 30 coloring pages to download and print on your own in color. And that will put you on the wait list to learn more about my upcoming club that I'm putting together. So if that's something that interests you, please, please, please go put your email on in and go grab your free coloring book. It's called The Curious Creatures Creative Coloring Book. And while I made my first book, so this coloring book has some of my animals and characters from my Project Monster adventure book. It has some really weird characters, but they're all really, really fun to color in. And I really hope that just seeing how random and odd they are will offer the opportunity for your kids to like know that it's okay to just get creative and make all sorts of weird stuff, whatever they want, as long as their little brains are making awesome creations. That's all that matters. Teresa, first time watching from North Carolina. Welcome. Um, no, there is no tracer for the elephant. So you got to draw it on your own, girl. You got to draw it on your own. And we drew it all together step by step at the beginning of this party. So if you need to rewind and go back, this party or this painting will also be up forever for you to watch for free. So you could just save it, put a pin in it, and save it for later and just follow along on your own time. All right, guys. So, oh, it's Dana's first time too. Yay! Welcome, guys. It's so exciting. Now, hopefully the coloring in went well for you. What I like to do, I'm wondering if I should, let me think about this. I do like to put the shading in before I do the black outlines. Dana, it's juliespaintparty.com/coloring book. It should be right at the bottom of the page or of the video here. You should see it right on the bottom. So juliespaintparty.com/coloring book. And Marie, that's where you get the coloring book, juliespaintparty.com/coloring book. And coloring is spelt in Canadian, so don't forget that U. Coloring, COLOURING. Okay. So let's keep working on this. Now I'm going to move down a notch. I'm going to finally grab my 1/2-inch flathead brush, and I'm going to add a few expressive brushstroke marks in and around the little crevices of my elephant here. Now I want to use a little bit of a darker gray because I want it to show up on top of my lighter gray. So I have the gray that I made right here. And I'm just going to go ahead and take one more tiny little scoop of black and add it in. Oh, let's put it this way so it doesn't all wonk into my thing. So we had it at about a 50% black. So now I'm going to make it like a 60 or 70% gray, sorry. So I'm just going to mix this together, add a couple little scoops of black. And I'm also going to add another drop of water. Get it nice and filled in there. Scrape off some of that excess, get my brush nice and in working order. And you'll know right away if it's not dark enough, because if you put the gray on the gray and you can't see it, it just means you need to add a little bit of extra black. So when I say expressive brush strokes, guys, I mean expressive brush strokes. That means we're going to do a little scribbling. We're going to do a little hashtagging. We're going to be just making little bits of darkness in wherever the crevices are. And what I mean by crevices are all the little spots that might not pick up the light. So behind her ear here, underneath her face and body down here, maybe over in the little corner, underneath her trunk. And, you know, just for fun, let's actually start down in this corner here. So I just take my brush and I whap in just little scribbles on the side. If you need to add a drop of water into it, go for it. That could help just kind of like extend it. And honestly, I just like to have fun with it. I just take my brush and I either pull side to side or up and down. And I taper it off so that it has like kind of like a triangular motion. So the bulk of the darkness is in the corner, and as it kind of cruises out, it gets smaller and smaller down in the bottom there. And then I'm going to do the same thing up here in her little area up here. Just take my brush and I'm just going to really gently scribble it in beside her ear. I honestly, guys, check it out. So I'm just taking my brush and I'm just scribble, 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 scribble. I'm acting really, really light. I'm not overtaking anything. I'm being super chill about it, okay? I have a very little bit of paint on my brush. I just start small and fill in any kind of areas where I feel like there would be a little bit of darkness. So along the bottom, along the sides here, even next to her ear over here in her face. And also in the little baby's body. So in and around his trunk area, underneath his trunk, in his little bum area, and around his back. So it might be a little bit odd right now because we don't have any outlines yet, right? So I often just like to wait and wait and wait until last. The very last thing is when I put the outlines and the black outlines on my painting. So if you think that you would be better off seeing the outlines first, then you might just want to wait to do the little extra like shadowy areas afterwards. Here, I'm gonna change my camera perspective one more time here so you can get a little bit of a closer look. So it looks really weird right now, right? I'm just taking my brush and I'm just scribbling in all these little areas here. Behind her little ear, behind her little earlobe here. This is in his ear here. Right inside his little earlobe area. Underneath his trunk. Underneath his trunk over here. And I'm also going to take my brush and swoop inside her trunk to give her a little bit of shading underneath too. So I have a tiny little bit of gray on my brush. I just start right on the line and I pull in and I kind of just like let my brush make the little marks. So it looks like her trunk has a little bit of roundness to it. And if you need to go over it again, please do. Whenever I'm doing this, the more I swoop, the more the bristles on my brush separate. And that just allows me to get these nice little lines inside my brush area. Express yourself, friends. Express yourself. All right. Now, once those areas are on there, I'm going to go ahead and I think it's safe to say that we can go ahead and give our elephant its outlines now. I think that'll make our brain feel a lot better, right? So let's do that. I'm going to move back to center here. And let's get this. All right. So there's a couple different ways that we can make the outlines on our elephant. First, I have my 1/2 inch flat brush here. Now it's nice and clean. I have rinsed all the gray paint off of it, gave it a little wipe on my napkin, and I like this brush because you see when I look at it from the side, it's got quite a sharp edge to it. It's nice and flat, the bristles stick together, and I can get a really, really clean line when my edges are all straight and narrow. So this is a really good brush to especially make thicker outlines around my elephant and whatever she's got going on there. Also, I have my long skinny liner brush. If you could see it here, let's see. That's a little easier. I like a long liner brush because it holds a lot of paint and also can make nice long lines around the edges. And it's really good for getting in those little crevices too. So I invite you to try out both if you want to. You can absolutely just, you could be using one and then decide that you want to move over to another. You don't always have to use the same brush as me. Just use whatever you're the most comfortable with. But I will say, making outlines, especially with acrylic paint, is way easier if you just put a dip of water on your brush. So I have my brush here. I'm just going to give a little dip of water and add that tiny little bit of water to the side of my black paint here. Now the little bit of water that I have in my paint is really going to help my brush cruise along the canvas without drying up. So if you find that you're making the outlines of your elephant and you keep having to reload your brush all the time just to get around the edges, you probably do very, very well to add a drop of water in with your paint. It really helps. All right. So where shall I start? I think I'm going to start with her ear, just like always. And I'm just start up at the top, and I'm going to use my 1/2 inch flat head brush to start and see how that goes for me. Oh yeah, that works really nice. And you can see, because I added that little bit of water in with my black, I can go all the way around and cruise. So I made it all the way around her ear in one fell swoop. And that's just because I had a tiny little bit of water inside my black paint. If I wouldn't have done that, I probably would have had to reload my brush like 3 times on the way around her ear. Jessica and Samantha, this party will be up to watch forever. So you can start from the beginning and watch it again, or you can just wait till we're done and watch it anytime you want. It is also up on my YouTube channel. And if you guys aren't subscribed, please go subscribe. YouTube, at Julie's Paint Party on YouTube. Find it, subscribe it, do it, do it, do it. Okay. And again, if I need a little bit more smooth action, I just add another drop of water right into my black. Now, just be wary. So if you do add a drop of water into your black, please just take the time to squeegee off any excess water that might end up dripping down your canvas and making you cry. I don't want you to cry. So just make sure you squeegee, okay? All right, let's start from the top again. And that was a big line. Um, I often find that shooshing helps me concentrate. So if you feel like you would like to shoosh, I highly encourage it. Shoosh away, my friend. Shoosh, 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 shoosh. Here I go, here I go, here I go. I'm shooshing on my elephant, yeah. So, finish off her trunk. Heather, my grandchildren are wondering what you are doing. What am I doing? I wonder. I wonder. I'm painting. Why? Why? What you doing? And I just love it so much. What is she doing? I could like, oh, the shushing. Shh. It's my concentration shoosh. That's what it is, grandchildren. If you're wondering. It helps me concentrate. And I'm going to do it again. There we go. And you know what? When things get a little bit wonky, I just thicken up that line and make it work for me. Sometimes my lines end up looking real thick because they look super wonky. And boop. And boop. Oh, looks like our elephants are coming together. Heather's grandkids think I'm weird. That's so not unusual for me. I am weird. And I'm okay with it. But let me tell you. Oh, thanks, Dana. That's really sweet. That's nice. You enjoy my weirdness. That's really great. So I often do private parties for kids. I host Zoom parties. If you ever want to book a party, you can go to my website and book directly on my website. Um, and I was singing some weird songs the other day, and I've never been eye rolled so hard by one of the little girls. Oh my goodness. She was like not having it. I laughed so hard. I can't help it, man. Uh, Kids are so great. Okay, so you know what? As I'm doing this, I just feel like the baby might be worthy of moving down to my long skinny brush just because the lines are a little shorter and because he's a little small, there's a little bit more detaily things. So I'm going to move down to my long skinny brush here. Thanks. Yeah, Danielle knows what I'm talking about. It is a compliment. I always say thank you when somebody says I'm weird. Yes. Tanya, I fully agree. Normal is super boring. Weird is where it's at. I'm into it. Well, I think you guys, if you know me, you know that's the truth for me. So I'm going to add just another little drop of water into my black, and I'm going to get my long skinny brush rolling here for my little baby elephant. So I'm just going to load up my brush. And you know what I said, anytime I'm using water in my paint, I always squeegee off that excess water so that it doesn't drip down my canvas and I don't cry. All right. And that extra little pull on the side of my palette's really going to help that. And then I'm just going to go ahead and follow those lines the best that I can. And you know, sometimes you might even find that the first time you made the lines, you might go back and be like, oh, I don't really like that. It's perfect. Just make a new line. You don't have to follow the exact same pencil line that you did before. Just do your best and make it work for you. And also, one thing that I always like to say is, painting can be a little bit tricky. So don't feel like you have to be far away from your canvas. I often anchor my hand down when I'm doing any kind of outline. So I have my hand firm on my paper. That helps my hand stay nice and steady and allow my brush to cruise way more confidently. If I was away from my canvas, I feel like I get a little extra shaky. So it does help. You don't want to put your hand in wet paint, but if it's safe, put your hand on your canvas and keep it legit. So, guys, you know what I forgot to say? If you feel like the outlines are going to be a little bit complicated doing it in paint, you're more than welcome to just let your elephant dry and grab a Sharpie after. Grab a Sharpie and just do the outlines that way, especially if you have smaller kids. It can be a little bit trying to get these outlines done with a paintbrush. So if you have to, get creative and use a little Sharpie, that's perfectly fine as well. Now, we didn't draw on any of the faces or any of the little details. So, for instance, my little baby elephant here, he's got a little tail. So I just like wiggle out a nice little tail here and give him just a cutie little floof right at the bottom. I'll show you what I mean. Got a cutie little floof right at the bottom. Oh, look at that little tail. Oh my goodness. Could that be any cuter? I don't think so. I love baby tails. That's one thing that my kid's been into lately is funny animal videos. And let me tell you, it is a step up from any like toy videos where the people are playing with toys on video. Oh my goodness. It is so refreshing to watch cute, adorable, funny animals. And I'm all about it. So I have his little cute fluff tail. And our baby's got a closed eye, right? So all that is a tiny little swoop. So right in between his ears. So if you go down his ear, and it's just below halfway. So I have this little line here that distincts his ear from his face. So just right in this little area here, I take my brush and just give it a little, one tiny little swoopy right down. It's just a little notch. Excuse me. Yes, Dana, or the video game ones. I have a 4-year-old, so she's not into that yet, but I know she will be. I dread it. I dread it. So look at his little eye. He's sleepy, and so cute. And whenever I make any kind of animals or anything like that, I just like really love to give them those little expressive brush strokes like we talked about before. So I'll take a little black and I'm just going to give him a few little freckles right on the top of his head here. Just a couple little dots. Give him it's so cute when they have those little freckles on their head. You can give him freckles in other places too, like on the bottoms of his ears. Maybe he's got a couple on his leg here too. I just love doing stuff like that. I also am going to do the same thing for the mama. Now, I find the mama's eye a little bit more challenging because I'm right-handed and it's more natural for me to go from the left-hand side over to the right-hand side. But for her eye, I want it to be a thicker on the right-hand side and thinner on the left-hand side. So I have to pull up and off the opposite direction, and I find that can be a little bit challenging. So if you need to like move your canvas around or your paper to make it work for you, if you're left-handed, you're golden, you don't have to worry about it. But if you're right-handed like me, and it might be a little bit hard to get that little swooping eye in there, just give your canvas a twist, and you might have to do it in the opposite arcing direction, but it might be a little bit easier to go that way. So with my long skinny brush, I start on the right hand side. Is that going to be the right spot? Yeah. And I just push, and as I pull up, I pull off my canvas so that there's a nice little point on the end. Yeah, Dana, you can definitely turn the canvas upside down. So like if you need to turn around your paper or canvas to make it work for you a little bit easier, I highly suggest it because it's a little tricky going this way. It's really awkward, right? So, so I did that. It's okay. It's okay. It's not my best work, but it's all good. And then I have all sorts of these beautiful long elephant eyelashes cruising and tapering off. You know elephants have beautiful eyelashes, right? Off into the distance here. I am not super stoked on my eyelashes, but it is what it is. Just fling them out, and I tapered them off so they're a little longer at the front and shorter at the back. Business in the front, party in the back, friends. And then one last little thing for her face here. I just like to give her a nice little eyebrow that dips the opposite way to make her look really content, like she's just loving up her baby so much. She loves that baby. And then I'll poop around and give her some freckles. So I'm going to give her some freckles up here. And I'm going to give her a few freckles in the tops of her ear up here. Honestly, anywhere. You could put some on her back. And you know what's fun? You can also use different colors if you wanted to. You can put some more on her ear here. I just love to put like little freckly dots all over the place. But if you wanted to really steeze it up a little bit, you could grab some white and put a few little white freckles with it. If you want to get really, really fancy, you can grab some turquoise. You can give our baby elephant some turquoise freckles. And I also like to give them little bits of highlights too. I just love bringing in extra colors, even if they don't make sense on a real scale. I think I just love adding those extra colors in. So I'll take a little turquoise on my brush and give him like a nice little highlight around the edge of his body here. And I'll do the same for the mama, only with some purple. I'll grab a little purple, and I can cruise around the top of her head like this. Shoop. And around the front here. Shoop. The top of her nose can be purple. The back of her body here can be purple. Boop. The side of her ear over here. Boop. And anywhere else you want. And also, I'm into purple freckles too. So I'm going to put a few little purpley freckles on her face here. Oh my goodness, she's so cute. And in the back. Now, you can work on this for a long time. I know we still need to do the mood and stuff. But, you know, just because by the time the party's over, you might not be completely finished, but you might have gone through all the motions, but you might want to take a step back and you can just add extra stuff. So, for example, there's my face. Hey. You know, we made some little shadowy areas, but you can always add more. So if I wanted to, I could grab my brush and add a little bit of extra darkness down in the bottom down here. I can grab my little bit of purple and add a little bit of purple in with some of these expressive brushstroke marks in and around those little darkened crevices on her body. Literally, this is your world, so please go and do your thing. special. Only you can make what you do. I can't make it for you, right? So get those little expressive brush strokes in there. Now, the moon I just free-handed the moon. I like to keep it super chill and really simple. So I didn't use a tracer or anything. My moon is not perfectly round, even though it's a crevice or a crescent moon. It's really, it's really, it's way more cartoony than it is real looking. So I'm actually going to use my long skinny brush for this. I'm going to grab a little bit of water and add it to my white paint because it's just been sitting there drying up this whole time. And I just do my absolute best to make a relatively decent crescent moon, okay? So up in the corner, I'm just going to start at the top and make a nice backward C. And notice too, like sometimes it's hard to do it in one fell swoop. So if you need to go both ways, that's okay. You can start off going in one direction and then finish it off going the other direction. That's okay. And then I attach those 2 points together the best I can. Oh, thank you, Ashley. My moon is white. I'm using white for my moon. And you could use yellow. You could make it a crazy psychedelic moon that you could use the turquoise if you wanted to. I believe that any lighter color would pop on top of the purple. So feel free if you want to get crazy. What color moon do you want to make? Blue moon. You saw me standing alone. This is not a blue moon. But honestly, I really like the idea of it being just super whimsical. So I'm going to leave it a little uneven. I just keep working my brush back and forth. I just take a little paint at a time. I'm being very gentle with my brush, swooping back and forth. And you know, if it's not this like I said, like look at my moon. It looks like more like a boomerang, to be honest. Now, if you did want to make something a little bit more even, I would a good way to do that is you can take like your paint bottle and trace half the circle onto your paper and just use that half circle as a guide to make this, you know, this one side of your moon. So even just putting that there, I'm like, oh yeah, that's not very even at all, but that's okay. I like the way this looks. And then once your moon's on there, we can put a few stars, which makes it extra magical. And I often just use the wooden end of my paintbrush handle. So I take the smallest paintbrush I have, which is my long skinny brush, and I dip the end in my white paint, and I just use the paintbrush handle to make some magical stars in the sky, because it's Betty Bye time. And, you know, have fun with it. The stars definitely don't have to be evenly separated. They can be all over the place in random. Some can be a little closer together. Some can be a little bit further together. You could put a ton of stars, or you could just put a few stars, and it's going to be perfect. And one more. Boom. Two more. Boom. And that is all. Yeah, so it's really cool. Well, because I'm working on this paper here, get that in there. I mean, my favorite part of this process is taking the paint off, or taking the tape off the sides. So eventually, where all of these like little scrapey marks are on the side. They get all nice and cleaned off by my painter's tape. Whoa, sometimes it rips the paper, but that's okay. And there we go. So now it's nice and finished around. And the very last part of every single painting, which is the most important part, is that we need to claim it. We need to make it our own. So please grab your paintbrush, and you don't have to go crazy. I just like to put my 2 little initials down in the bottom corner here, JR. And voila, everybody will know it's mine. Yeah. All right, friends. Let's get this out of here. Guys, I cannot thank you enough for showing up live with me today. As usual, you know, I just absolutely love sharing my love for painting with you. And I just it fills my heart so much to know that something like this can bring families together. It makes me really, really happy. And I hope that you found some form of joy while you made these paintings today. And I just can't thank you enough for showing up. And thank you, all the moms, for being moms and being there for your kids and doing all the hard and wonderful things that it takes to own motherhood, because it ain't no easy road, man. It's hard and it's so great. And man, I'm sending all of my love to all the moms. I see you, I am you, and just thank you so much. Now, when you're done your painting, make sure you go to Facebook and go into the Julie's Paint Party public group and post your beautiful Mother's Day elephants. I can't wait to see all of the adorable little babies. Oh. And just celebrate you and how awesome you did today. And a huge thank you to the fantastic fathers for hosting this party today. And just remember, you got to get over to my website there too, juliespaintparty.com/coloring book, to get your free coloring pages and sign up for my email list. And last but not least, I just want to give a huge shout out to my own mom, Janice Robinson. You have been the absolute best thing in the whole world. Obviously, I wouldn't be here without you. So thanks for that. And honestly, I'm not sure how I would do my life without my mom. So just a huge shout out to you, Mom. I love you so much, and sending all my love to everybody out there today. Thanks, guys. I will see you soon. All right. Bye, friends. Have a great